بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه. Inshallah, it is a great honor for me once again to introduce our guest speaker for today. It is none other than the second deputy president of the MZC and also the current resident imam of Masjid al-Khair in Rondaflay, mashallah. And it's none other than our respected Sheikh Riyaad Fataar. فليتفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. It is indeed a great honor and privilege for me to once again address the Jamaat. And we make dua that Allah Ta'ala make us all min al-muttaqeen wa min al-muhsineen wa min ibadi al-salihin. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. قال سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه العزيز في سورة الملك آية 20 بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أمن هذا الذي هو جند لكم ينصركم من دون الرحمن إن الكافرون إلا في غرور. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what is meant in English in this holy ayah in Surah Al-Mulk in ayah number 20. أَمَّنْ هَذَا الَّذِي هُوَ جُنْدٌ لَكُمْ يَنْصُرُكُمْ. Who is there besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Any army besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is going to grant you victory? That is going to victory other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, other than Ar-Rahman. In al-kafiruna illa fi ghurur. Those who think that they are going to get victory other than from Allah ta'ala, you are deluded. You are in a delusion. Jamaatul Muslimin, we find ourselves again in the Israeli apartheid week, which in South Africa is from the 12th to the 18th, and today we spend our time in that. But first of all, I remind myself, as I remind your honorable selves, that the Deen of Islam calls upon its adherents, its followers, to noble principles. Those principles that is going to make sure that the connection between the ummah of the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is firm. Those principles that is going to make sure that the unity of the ummah is there. Those principles that is going to make sure that the honor of a Muslim is protected. And among those principles that the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam clearly says in a hadith, says the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, "Man lam yahtam bi amri al-muslimin falaysa minhum," rawahu Tabrani. Who is not concerned of the matters that affect the Muslim ummah, then you cannot be from them. Cannot be from that ummah. So therefore, today we speak about Palestine and we speak about Al-Quds, and you know Al-Quds means Jerusalem. Masjid al-Aqsa, because it is in continuous danger. It is in continuous danger. Jamaatul Muslimin, it's slipping from our hands. It is slipping from the hands of the ummah. It is slipping from the hands of the Muslimin, because the mukhattatat, the plans of the Yahud is moving. Is moving while the Muslims are sleeping. It is busy and it is continually changing the features around Masjid al-Aqsa, Al-Quds and Palestine, changing anything that is looking Islamic or Arabic or Christian and so on, because the ultimate objective is, let's remove these Muslims from here. Let's get them out of here. Let's get the Christians out of here. This is the road of the Yahud. This is the road of the Zionists. So that they will make sure that they are going to end up with something that is purely only for them, for the Zionists and for the Jews. And while they're on that road, They're not worried what you say. They're not worried what the Ummah say. They're not worried what the Arabs say or the Palestinians say. They go continuously, and there's only one logic. The logic is aggression. The logic is power. The logic is make them submissive, let them bend on their knees for us. That is the logic of the Zionist Jamaat al-Muslimin, and it doesn't stop. Do you know that at this point in time, while there's not a lot of social media messages going around, in this point in time, there are so many people in Palestine that is now sending out private messages to people. Help, please, help. We can't manage anymore. We don't have food, we don't have water, we can't even clothe properly, we've got nothing. So therefore, this is not an issue that can be off from our minds, Jamaat al-Muslimin, because the aggression from the Zionists has not reduced. Maybe the media is reduced to take our attention away. But the aggression has not reduced. The Zionists are as fierce as always in their violence. They are armed terrorists, and at the end of the day, says the ulama, their whole objective is to wipe Islam out of that. يُرِيدُونَ لِيُطْفِئُوا نُورَ اللَّهِ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ وَاللَّهُ مُتِمُّ نُورِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْكَافِرُونَ. Says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fi Surah As-Saf, ayah number 8. They wish to extinguish the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bi-afwahihim, by their sayings, by their mouth. Wallahu mutimmu nurihi. But Allah ta'ala will make sure that His nur is perfected, that the deen of Islam will remain there. وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْكَافِرُونَ. You know what is the worrying factor in that? The worrying factor in that is we know that Allah ta'ala is going to cause a change. But are we part of that change? Your honorable self and myself, what are we doing in terms of that change that is coming? We know if Allah says it's coming, it's coming. But are we part of that? Are we sitting one side and seeing what is happening and what is playing down and whatever, and we hear all the pains that the people are going through? Challenge anybody. You go and stand up and you say, this is enough. This is enough from the Zionists. Challenge you, go shout out at the loudest of your voices, and tomorrow they'll say you're a terrorist. So this is how they shut you up. This is how they shut you up, Jamaat al-Muslimin, because you then that are all calling out, and all those that are calling out, they must be annihilated. They must be annihilated completely. In actual fact, even in Cape Town, internationally, and even Palestine, they got us to fight with one another over the issue. Meanwhile, the people are suffering. We are still arguing on what should be done and what should not be done, but the kinders gaan do it. People are losing their lives. And what is it that we are doing so far away? Remember the hadith, مَنْ لَمْ يَهْتَمْ بِأَمْرِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ فَلَيْسَ مِنْهُمْ. Who is not concerned about the matters of this ummah, then you cannot be from them, says the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. So what is happening there? Who are the people that are the terrorists? Are those Palestinian brothers and sisters, and there is Christians amongst them. They are protecting but their lands. They are protecting but their houses. They are protecting the blood. Did you see that this happened in terms of the children? They are protecting their very honor. They are protecting all of the muqaddasat, all of the holy places that are there. They are protecting for all of us. Now you hear this calls from some of the Arab governments. You hear them calling out, we detest that, detest. What is detestment? They can show their powerful armies in the streets of their countries, and malas niks weet. They're not worth anything. In actual fact, the voices have become so soft you can't even hear them anymore. The Al-Azhar University had put out a statement, and I'm going to put part of that here. And that is that it is, at the moment, the mode or the change or the efforts that are in there to change the whole scenario, to change the whole mode in Palestine and Al-Quds and Masjid al-Aqsa and its surroundings, it is accelerated. It is accelerated. The Zionist aggression is increasing. The holy sites, Muslim Christians, is in danger. In the midst of all of this is Masjid al-Aqsa. Do you know that they have competitions between them? They have competitions between them. They have different people for different projects. Who is going to beat one another in bringing down Masjid al-Aqsa? These pillars, they've devised a special compound that they can wipe on it and it will make the pillars weak. And you ask yourself, where is the Ummah? Can one blame these people, Jama'at al-Muslimin, when they call out, where is the Ummah? Now let us go to some facts, Jama'at al-Muslimin, that you must remember. So that the world will remember that the Arabness of Al-Quds is entrenched in the annals of history. Entrenched for more than 60 centuries. For the benefit of our children, 60 centuries is how many years? 6,000 years. For 6,000 years already in history it's recorded. Where are we coming from? There was a group that I would call them Arab desert dwellers. They were called Al-Yabusiyun. They had established that area in the year 1400 BC, meaning before Christ. In the year 1400 BC, which was even before the period of the father of the Anbiya, Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, by 21 centuries. Take note of the history. Take note of the history. It was before the appearance of Judaism as a Sharia of Nabi Musa alayhi salam by 27 centuries. Let me repeat that again so that we remember it. The area of Palestine and Al-Quds was established by a group called Al-Yabusiyun. I call them in Arab, for English terms, Arab desert dwellers. Around about 1400 BC. 1400 before Christ, BC stands for Christ, which means it is before the period of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam by approximately 21 centuries, 2100 years. Before the appearance of Judaism, which came about, before it by about 27 centuries, which makes it 2700 years before Judaism came there. The Sharia of Nabi Musa alayhi salam, the Torah and so on, it appeared in Egypt, and the language that was used was hieroglyphics. There was no Jews around. There was no Hebrew around at the time. It wasn't in existence. At the time when the Jews invaded the Canaan lands, there wasn't any Hebrew around. It wasn't in existence for about 100 years. So therefore, there is absolutely no connection or historical reference that any Jew can come up with for Judaism or for Hebrew that they can connect to Jerusalem or to Palestine. There's no historical reference for them. The existence of Hebrew only appeared 415 years later. And that was in the time of Nabi Dawood alayhi salam. That was in the 10th century BC. And you know how it happened? They only passed by. They went through the area after the Arabs had already established Jerusalem, and a period of approximately 30 centuries had already passed. That is what history records. That is the historical facts. In actual fact, added to that also, Al-Quds has seen many battles. That area has seen many battles and many invasions. History teaches us and confirms that whenever people invade or dominate a land, they start to monopolize everything. They start to change everything. Whatever attributes there are of a particular place or people, they want to get it out. Whatever language they speak, they want to get it out of the way. It happened in the time of the Babylonians, it happened in the time of the Greeks, it happened in the time of the Romans, it happened in the time of the Crusaders, and it is happening in the time of the Zionists at the moment. They continue on the same path as the invaders that is done before them. Judaize, if there's a word like that, everything that is around in Palestine and in Jerusalem, have the monopoly, eliminate whatever there is of Arab and Christian existence, get it out of the way. But let me remind your honorable selves that Islam is unique. Islam stands distinguished as the only deen that acknowledges other deens, other creeds, and shows honor to the holy sites of other people, of other religions. On top of that, the deen of Islam, and your Imam will probably tell you the same, we respect other people's holy places. We are not going to break it down. If somebody of the Muslim community must be crazy in his head and breaks down a Christian church here, we will all rush to go and help. That is what the Muslims done in Egypt also. Islam orders whatever rulers or be of a Muslim ruler in Jerusalem, that those who are non-Muslim have the right of use to their Christian churches or Jewish sites and whatever the case may be. But Al-Quds will remain Madinatullah. It will remain the city of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This modern day assault from the Jews, it goes against all treaties. It goes against internationally acknowledged laws. What does it do? If you're an invader and you try to change the area and the people and the language and the culture, it is considered internationally, it's considered criminal. It's considered criminal when you want to change the natural state of a population and you want to wipe out their identity. And that is what is happening in the occupied territories. In actual fact, everything that they do is deprived of international law. So there is nothing like that. It also clashes with history in any case. Clashes with history. So therefore, Jamaatul Muslimin, that declaration that Al-Quds, Masjid al-Aqsa, Palestine, is definitely has its origins from the Arabs and from Islam, from that desert Arabs that I told you about for more than 60 centuries before anybody else. The Al-Azhar has announced that it has rejected all of these projects and warns the Zionist entities and the powers that support them that you are threatening the safety of the area. You are threatening international safety, and reminds the Zionist occupier, remember that the Crusaders, that they have occupied greater than what you are occupying at the moment. They had occupied for more years, double the amount of years that you are an occupier. But wallahi, sunnatullahi subhanahu wa ta'ala will again come in. And that is, Allah ta'ala will not allow an occupier to stay. Will not allow an invader to stay. History has proven that. If you want to call it the law of nature, khalas, then call it the law of nature. And that is that the page will turn, and we warned them about that. That the page will turn on these people. These Zionists and these brutal Western imperial powers that are supporting them, they have overstepped like the president of Turkey had said, you've gone over the red line with the Muslim Ummah. You have gone over the red line of the Muslim Ummah. Please take note that the Muslim Ummah currently is a quarter of the population of the world. This Ummah is a potent Ummah. This Ummah is a powerful Ummah. And there's the possibility that this Ummah will forcefully take back the lands that has been usurped by the Zionists. When we speak about Palestine and Al-Quds and Masjid al-Aqsa and the holiness of the different sites and things that are there, then we are not talking about a Palestinian national issue or an Arab nationality and so on. The one thing that we must realize is this is a qadiyya Islamiyya. This is an Islamic belief situation, issue. And Muslims are staying in jihad, and you're going to hear the words of Salahuddin at the end of this, are staying in jihad in order to get rid of the Zionist occupier. Their objective is to protect their community, to protect the holy sites, and all Muslims around the world is called to support them, to show your help in whatever different ways there is. Muslim, all other free people of the world are called, if you think that holy sites is important in your religion, then you should be the same people here standing here protecting the Muslims and the Christians of their holy sites in Palestine. You should be standing with them. We call upon the intelligentsia of the Yahud, and we remind them that wherever you have been in the world, you have been oppressed. You have suffered aggression. The only place where you lived in comfort and where you were at peace was when the Muslims were ruling. Was the only time when the Muslim culture was there, was the only time where the Jews have lived in peace. So therefore, the aggression on Al-Quds and Masjid al-Aqsa for the Muslim Ummah, this is a red line, and this is the beginning. This is a beginning that we tell the Yahud, or we tell the Zionists, there is a new page coming. There is a new page coming that is going to exclude the Zionists from that page. And you are not going to be part of that page. Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, he writes to the Crusader king. His name was Richard the Lionheart. And he writes himself the following: لا تفكر بأنه يمكن لنا أن نتخلى عن القدس أبدا كما لا يمكن بحال أن نتخلى عن حقوقنا فيها كأمة مسلمة. Don't think for 1 minute that we will ever leave off Al-Quds as a Muslim Ummah. And don't think for a minute that we will leave off our rights as a Muslim Ummah on Al-Quds and Masjid al-Aqsa. And he says, Wallahi, Allah will never give you steadfastness on this land as long as the Muslim Ummah is in jihad. As long as the Muslim Ummah is in jihad. So therefore, Jamaatul Muslimin, the words of Salahuddin has proven many times, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, there are still your Muslim brothers and sisters that are there, that are in jihad. That stays. They are on the battlefield. They come back, they shot and they crippled and they dead, and mothers and wives and grandmothers, and they see of their sons and their husbands not knowing whether they're going to come back. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran in Surah Yusuf, ayah number 21, وَاللَّهُ غَالِبٌ عَلَى أَمْرِهِ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cause His matters to come to pass, even though many people don't believe it. May Allah ta'ala bring relief to the people of Palestine, and Syria and Yemen and all over the world where the Muslims are so massacred. I am sure that you have seen the social media letter that is going around, and you can see it's thinking. And the social media letter that is emanated from London apparently, which they are now investigating, it is, what is it called? Something to the tune, it says that they choose a day where you hurt Muslims. And if you kill a Muslim, you get so many points. If you destroy a masjid, you get so many points, and things like this. This is not your time and my time and our time of the ummah to be weak. But we will be weak if we don't get back to our deen. If we don't get back to our salah, if we don't go back to the sunnah of the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, then we are kahutha'i sayl. Then we are like the foam on the sea. We are being kicked around. A last research that was shown, of the approximately 2 billion Muslims on the dunya, 5% is making salah on time. What do we expect? What do we expect? If you put your hands up and you want Allah to answer your dua, at least be a right Muslim, so that you have power. And if we want power to come back to the ummah, then we have to come back to our deen, Jamaatul Muslimin. We have to show the world outside, this is the ummah of the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allow me to end up with the hadith of the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. As-salah imaduddin. Man aqamaha faqad aqama ad-din. Wa man hadamaha faqad ad-din. That your salah is the pillars of your deen. Who have upheld your salah, you have upheld your deen. And who have destroyed your salah, then you have destroyed your deen. May Allah Ta'ala make us all min al-muttaqin wa min al-muhsinin wa min ibadis salihin wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Jamaatul Muslimin, I'm going to leave a notice with the Imam. It comes from the United Ulama Council of South Africa, UCSA, and it encourages everybody, this Israeli Apartheid Week, which takes place, it takes place right throughout the world, alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. And you must see the programs that others have, non-Muslims have, towards Palestine and support for the Muslims and the Palestine. This is the 14th International Israeli Apartheid Week. It takes place in South Africa from the 12th to the 18th of March. Everybody, you do your bit. You do your bit to speak about the difficulty and the strife that the Palestinians are going through in their land, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We say Jazakallah to Sheikh Riyaad Fataar for his very informative talk.